Next question. Discuss reasons for low tax to GDP of India and suggest measures to increase it. What could be a introduction for this? While discussing the reasons for low tax to GDP, first I have to give some stats associated with low tax to GDP. India's tax to GDP is 11.1% in 22-23, which is recent data, very less compared to the OECD nations average of 35%, and there are various reasons for it. Base has been set for the reasons. Now we all know there are certain reasons, and I have already mentioned this is one of the structural problem that constrains or that restricts India's GDP in achieving its potential. Before understanding these problems, let's understand few complicated things associated with this question. I'm sure all of you might have come across these terms: base erosion, profit shifting, transfer pricing, treaty shopping, round tripping, double tax avoidance agreement, tax havens, shell companies, limitation of benefit clause. I'm sure all of you have come across these things, and these are very important concepts. Let's try to understand this thing before we answer that question. Various corporate companies, what they do is they will shift their company's base in such a way to show less profit or evade the tax. We impose tax based on certain conditions, right? But there are certain rules and laws and principles. Various corporate companies use the loopholes that are present in the laws or in the mechanisms globally, and they shift their base in such a way profit seems to be low of that company, and they will escape paying tax. So that is called the base erosion and profit shift. This is a concept through which companies show relatively less profit and finally avoid paying tax. There could be two things. One thing, they might be doing illegal thing, or they might be doing using the loopholes avoid the tax. So there can be money laundering type of activity in this, where round tripping, where the black money is finally round tripped and come back to your own nation as a white money, so which is an illegal activity, or they can use the legal loopholes avoid the payment of the tax. We will see this thing. I hope you understood what is base erosion and profit shifting. That means they will show less amount of profit, so as a result their base of the company on which tax has to be paid will be eroded, and finally less amount of tax is paid. What are the ways through which they will do this thing? First thing is a transfer pricing, and another major thing is a treaty shopping, and then another thing is a round tripping. What is this transfer pricing? Now let's assume there is a country A and a country B. There is a X company which is having its base in the country A, and it also has its branch in the country B. Now this company X manufactures a product. Let's assume some product Z. In order to manufacture product Z, they have to import some product Y from the B. Both are related companies. Now they manufactured whatever the product cost, overall the benefit, let's assume it is 100 rupees. Now there is 10% tax hypothetically, so they have to pay 10 rupees. All these things will be in crores. It's not so less, it is in the crores. So they have to pay 10 rupees. What the companies do is, since the same company X has its branch in the country B, whatever the input material that they bring from this B country to manufacture this product Z is, they will hike this cost. let's assume to manufacture product, they need 10 rupees worth of product from the country B, the same company X, but they will inflate this cost. They will say instead of 10 it would be 40 rupees. So what all overall profit, that is 100 rupees, it will come down to 60 rupees. How this is happening? Because company X is present both in the country A and the country B. By inflating cost, input cost that is used from the same company X in the country B, the profit instead of 100 it will be shown as a 60, and the tax will be paid on the 60 rupees, that is 6 rupees. 4 rupees is reduced. Now you can understand this. If it is a, what if it is a 1 crore or 100 crores? So huge amount of tax is being lost to the India, which is called transfer pricing. This is not something illegal. They have used the loopholes and they are using this mechanism. So government asked them there should be arm's length policy. There would be advance pricing agreement between the company and the government. What should be the actual product? What should be the cost? Can they increase or decrease the cost or not? What all things that should be included while calculating this final output cost. Before itself, government and the company will do the agreement, and so that there is no misuse of the provisions. This is the issue of the transfer pricing agreement and the advance pricing agreement. So what is the thing they use for the base erosion profit shifting? That is transfer pricing. Transfer pricing is a mechanism where a company, same company, have one more branch, associated company in the other country, use this link or association to inflate its input cost, so that to show less profit in the final output and finally avoid the tax payment. So that is called the transfer pricing mechanism. So government will finally come up with advanced pricing agreement in order to reduce or handle this transfer pricing mechanism. Let's move to the next point. What else we have seen? We have seen this thing. Now the another point is a treaty shopping. What is this treaty shopping? Treaty shopping means two countries have come into a kind of agreement in terms of the payment of the tax, in kind of understanding. There is understanding between two countries in order to bring simplicity in the taxation or to attract the investment. Now these are the two countries. Now whatever the benefits that are meant, it should happen between these two countries. Now third country will come and use these benefits. For instance, let's say India will have independent agreements with different nations. It is called the double taxation avoidance agreement. One such example is double taxation avoidance agreement. As per this agreement, if there is India and Mauritius, if a company is investing in company Y, India, here they will pay the corporate tax on its profit, and here whatever the investment they do, once they sell off their investment, and whatever the capital they receive, they have to pay the capital gains tax. This is the mechanism. Now they are paying taxes here also and here also. Here they are paying the capital gains tax, and here they are paying the corporate income tax. In order to avoid this double taxation, Government of India and Mauritius came to agreement. They say, let's impose tax at one place. So government said, okay, we will do away with this tax. You impose. Let's not impose both of them. So this way it will encourage investment from here. Seems good, right? This is a mechanism, fair mechanism, in order to avoid the double taxation for the benefit of the people. It is given to which country? Mauritius country. This is a mechanism between two countries, right? India and the Mauritius. Now let's say there is a company from the UK. If this company, there is a company Z in the UK, Now if this company purchases shares of company Y from India, they have to pay capital gains tax. Let's assume that both of these do not have the double tax avoidance agreement. So what this UK company does is they will establish a company here only for the purpose of avoiding the tax. They will establish their company here which do not have any actual economic presence here. That is called shell company. Their purpose is only for the tax avoidance. They do not have actual any economic activity. Just hollow company which is not doing any activity. This company will be set up in the Mauritius, and now they will buy the shares, and whatever the income they receive they will transfer back to the UK. This is how evasion or avoidance of the tax is happening. Now India, if asked Mauritius who all are genuine people, Mauritius will not reveal the data because this is a tax haven country. What is tax haven? Tax haven nation means that nation which maintains secrecy of financial transactions and informations that are present in the country. Which country came here, which country investing in their financial institutions, all these things they do not share. They maintain financial secrecy. Transparency will not be there. So government of India will not be aware whether this Z company really belongs to the Mauritius or UK. So here there are, what are the two things that we have seen? We have seen tax havens and the shell companies. In this way there is base erosion and profit shifting. Alternatively, what can happen is the same thing, in the same example, now the same Indian company, let's say this is, we have India and we have Mauritius. Now a person from India has generated huge amount of unaccounted black money. Through various channels he will route his black money. You might have studied this topic in the concept of money laundering. Through various channels, there would be so many channels, it would become hardly impossible for any institution to identify whether it is a black money or white money. There would be different various mechanisms to make this black money into the white money. So they will make somehow whatever the black money they have go through various channels, and then they establish a shell company, and from this shell company they will invest back into the India, whatever the company X is. The same X company has this black money. Now through routing, this black money will become a white money. So this is the money laundering process. Even this money laundering process, the tax evasion, the illegal activities are being done through misuse of double tax avoidance agreement. I hope this is called the round tripping. Same money from the domestic country will be round tripped and reinvested as a kind of fair money, which is actually the black money. That is called round tripping. Your domestic money, domestic currency will go through various channels and come as a FDI, foreign investment. That is called the round tripping. So these are the ways through which base erosion is happening. Profit is being shifted and tax is being avoided. So what the government has done? In this case, in the transfer pricing, we have seen one of the measure taken is the advance pricing agreement. Here, in order to handle these things, government has introduced limitation of benefit clause. In this clause, government will offer whatever the benefits that are there under the double tax avoidance agreement only to those companies which are genuinely from that Mauritius region, that specific region. Okay, these benefits will not be extended to every person. To those companies which are primarily belonging to the Mauritius region, only they are expected to get the benefits. So here in this case, UK will not get the benefits. But how this can be implemented, how the government of India can know, because these are the countries of tax haven, they are not giving information. So what the government did is, we are the member of Financial Action Task Force, right? This is also very important prelims bit. Under this, there is an agreement, and finally all the countries have to open up the information. They have to share the information. They cannot maintain the secrecy. If these institutions, these nations, they do not share the financial transparency, then they will be put in the blacklist. So no investments or no support can happen to those nations. Through international support, international mechanisms, now we are getting the information of those nations, who are the actual companies that are present here, and who are the shell companies, and who are the companies that are doing the round tripping. Apart from this, we are also getting into the individual tax treaties with the USA, UK, share the financial information. Now if we know that there is a Z company from UK, it is shifting to the Mauritius, the UK will share information to us because we have the individual treaty. All these things could be possible because we have signed OECD document. We have signed OECD's base erosion profit shifting document, BEPS mechanism. We have signed an agreement with the OECD to restrict all these mechanisms. That's how we are able to reduce this tax evasion. So this is a comprehensive thing and understanding that is required for you to answer that question. Now question becomes very easy. First, in order to increase the tax to GDP, whatever the tax payment that has to be increased, how can we pay the tax? If my salary is less than whatever the tax rates imposed by the government, if I don't come in the tax bracket, then I don't pay much money to the government. For this to happen, so that I fall in the tax bracket, my income should be increased, for that GDP should be grown, for that economy should be promoted, more employment should happen, and I should get more paying jobs, right? So that's the first important thing. Tax base is low due to the low per capita income, which is 1,50,000 rupees. This is the major reason why we have low tax to GDP. In order to improve this thing, we have to increase the per capita income. Unorganized sector of Indian economy, 90% of the economy is informal in nature. If there is informal nature of economy, then how will you identify what is the tax rate, what is the tax slab, how will you collect? It is not possible. Everything is going informal. And 56% of the employment is the self-employment, and the salaries and wages of this self-employment are very low. So this is a primary cause because of which India is not able to increase its tax to GDP, which is very low as 11%. Then aggressive tax planning by corporate using methods like treaty shopping. Treaty shopping means where third company is taking benefits that were meant to be between two other countries, which we have seen just now. And then transfer pricing, where the profit is being shifted to some other company where it has to pay less taxes. Then low compliance and the high tax evasion. Government is also giving various exemptions to the SEZs. Tax need not be paid on the agriculture income. If the tax laws are very complex and complicated in nature, then definitely people will not be willing to pay the tax. Then fluctuating economic growth, which is nothing but the incomes of the people are poor. Low equilibrium trap. What is this low equilibrium trap? Means people will not have money with them. So as they do not have money, they don't pay income to the government. They don't pay money to the government. As the government do not have the money, government will not invest in the capital expenditure. So GDP growth will not happen. So employment will not happen. Again, my income will not increase. That is called the low equilibrium trap. Another point is, there is also lack of trust. People avoid the tax, thinking that government is corrupt. There is no trust. Whatever the social contract that is there between the people and the government, that is lacking because of high corruption, lack of efficient services. Whatever the roads we see poor quality in nature, and people feel, why should we pay taxes to the government? Once economic survey mentioned this thing as a middle class exit. Middle class are exiting from the government services. If you study this thing in the urban geography, where you see the gated communities, urban amenities, all these things which you see in the city outskirts, where you see very big tall buildings, skyscrapers, with all the facilities present within those gated communities, along with the security, various services like entertainment, all these things are provided by people themselves. Government is not involving there. Even as high as security services are being provided by these people by payment of high charges, because they do feel government is not providing them effectively. So instead of paying to the government, they are paying it to some other private player. So this is eroding the base of the government. So that is a lack of trust. How to increase this thing? Increase tax base, increase the growth and income of the people, rationalize the tax rates. That is what government has done in the recent budget. Trust based governance. This is what it is mentioned in the government documents. This will break that cycle which I have mentioned about. The social contract that is weak between the government and the citizens, that will be improved, and the tax compliance will be increased. Administration reforms. GST we have introduced. Direct tax code. What is this direct tax code? We have Income Tax Act 1961. There are so many sections and provisions. It is very complex in nature for you to understand this direct tax code. This is a very old law, 1961 law. Now so many changes has happened in the economy. Government should come up with the reforms in this direct tax. The laws should become very simple, so that everyone who is willing to pay tax, things should become easy for him. Tax assessment. If any kind of tax disputes are there between the person who is paying the tax and the officer who is actually collecting the tax, there should be simplicity and also corruption free. Generally what happens is, whoever the administrator is there, he will ask some amount of returns. He will ask, give me X amount, I will cancel your case. So in order to stop these things, faceless tax assessment. Now the person do not know whom he is talking to, and it's not necessary next day you will talk to the same person. So this is very good reform. So this will reduce the corruption. Faceless tax assessment. Formalization of economy, we have already seen this GST and all. And then simplifying tax laws to eliminate the loophole for tax avoidance. Then we have taken the legal measures like, say, Prevention of Corruption Act, Money Laundering Prevention Act, to check all this black money, money laundering and all these things. And then global cooperation, like individual taxation agreements and OECD's BEPS agreement, limitation of the benefit clause, and use of technology like use of digital transactions, artificial intelligence to track personal income, and linking of PAN and bank details. So to identify tax evasion. Ensuring higher tax to GDP will increase the fiscal capacity of the government for ensuring welfare based government. So look at the conclusion, which tries to use proper keywords and give summary or futuristic conclusion, a good conclusion for this topic. Thank you.